Somewhere in America, a Ford dealership sells a vehicle every few minutes. From the outside, it looks like easy money. Shiny trucks lined up under bright showroom lights. Salespeople smiling next to gleaming display floors. Steady traffic pulling in and out all day long. It looks like a business that prints cash on its own. But that picture is mostly an illusion. Ford dealerships are not really in the business of selling cars. They are in the business of managing debt, discounts, and repair bays. Almost none of the real profit comes from where people assume. To understand this, you have to look past the showroom floor. You have to look at the invisible machinery running behind every sale. This is the hidden economics of owning a Ford dealership, and it is far more complicated than simply selling trucks for a living. People are drawn to this business for one obvious reason. Ford is one of the most recognized names on the planet. It sells more trucks than almost any other brand in America. The F-150 has been the best-selling vehicle in the country for decades. That kind of demand feels like a guaranteed customer base. New owners imagine walking straight into instant brand loyalty. They imagine a lot full of trucks that practically sell themselves. They picture steady traffic from lifelong Ford family. They picture a business insulated from economic swing. On paper, this looks like one of the safer franchises to own. A century of brand trust already built for you. A nationwide service network customers already recognize and trust. A logo that opens doors before a single sale is made. This is the fantasy that pulls entrepreneurs toward Ford ownership. But fantasy and financial reality rarely match perfectly. Before that fantasy becomes real, there is a brutal entry price. Ford does not simply hand out dealership licenses to anyone. Becoming an approved Ford dealer requires manufacturer approval first. That approval process can take many months, sometimes years. Ford reviews your capital, your experience, and your local market. Then comes the real barrier standing in the way: money. Buying an existing Ford dealership can cost millions of dollars up front. Total investment often ranges from $2 million to over $20 million. The exact number depends heavily on location and dealership size. A rural single-point store costs far less than a metro mega-dealer. Land alone in a busy market can run into 7 figures. Then comes construction of a fully Ford-branded showroom. Ford enforces strict facility design standards called image programs. These standards dictate lighting, signage, layout, and even paint finishes. Owners who skip compliance risk losing certain incentive payments. On top of the building, there is inventory to finance. Dealers don't pay cash for the vehicles sitting on their lot. They use something called floor plan financing instead. This is essentially a loan used to stock inventory. Every vehicle on the lot quietly accumulates interest by the day. The bigger the lot, the bigger the hidden debt clock. Then there's a required working capital cushion Ford insists on. Ford wants proof you can survive slow sales months. That means holding liquid cash reserves just to qualify at all. Many aspiring owners are eliminated at this stage alone. This is why most new Ford dealers are already wealthy operators. It's rarely a business a first-time entrepreneur can start from zero. Once approved, the real question becomes how the money actually flows. Most people assume new car sales are the main profit engine. In reality, new vehicle margins are surprisingly thin. Gross profit on a new Ford often sits around 3 to 5%. On trucks like the F-150 or Super Duty, margins run slightly higher. On smaller sedans and base trims, margins can be almost nothing. Heavy manufacturer incentives and local competition eat into that margin fast. So why do dealers still sell cars at such thin margins? Because a single new car sale unlocks several other profit streams. First hidden stream is something called holdback. Ford quietly pays dealers a small percentage back on every unit sold. This holdback is invisible to the customer completely. It boosts the dealer's real margin only after the sale closes. The second stream comes from financing arranged inside the dealership. When a customer finances or leases, the dealer earns a commission. This is called finance and insurance profit, or F&I for short. It can add well over $1,000 of profit per vehicle. The third stream is extended warranties and protection package. These carry extremely high margins compared to the vehicle itself. The fourth stream is trade-in vehicles taken during a new purchase. Used cars often carry stronger margins than brand new ones. A well-priced trade-in can be reconditioned and resold for real profit. But the biggest profit engine hides in the back of the building. It's the service and parts department. Oil changes, brake jobs, warranty repairs, routine maintenance work. This department often generates less total revenue than car sales, but it generates a much larger share of overall profit. Service labor margins can run close to 50% gross profit. Parts margins often run nearly as strong. This is exactly why service bays matter more than shiny showroom floors. A dealership with an empty service bay is a dealership in trouble. A dealership with a packed service schedule usually survives slow sales months. Now for the side nobody puts in the glossy brochure. Running a Ford store is expensive every single day it's open. Facility upkeep to Ford's image standards isn't optional at all. Owners must periodically reinvest in signage, technology, and design refreshes. Skipping these updates can quietly reduce dealer incentive payments. Marketing co-op requirements add another recurring cost to the ledger. Ford expects local advertising spend that follows strict brand guidelines. Staffing costs are heavy, especially for trained service technicians. Skilled technicians are in short supply and expensive to retain. Insurance covering a large vehicle inventory is not cheap either. Then there's floor plan interest, quietly draining cash every day. Every unsold vehicle on the lot costs money just sitting there. When interest rates rise, that carrying cost rises right along with them. During high-rate periods, floor plan costs can crush already thin margins. Utilities, property taxes, and basic lot maintenance stack on top of that. None of these costs pause just because sales slow down. Now Ford dealers face a newer, much bigger expense: electric vehicle certification. To sell and service EVs, Ford requires dealers to hit certification tiers. Certified dealers must install charging equipment and specialized diagnostic tools. They must train technicians on high-voltage EV repair system. This single investment can run into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Dealers who skip EV certification risk losing future vehicle allocation entirely. It's a costly bet on a transition still finding its footing. All of this creates real financial pressure behind the scenes. Ford's manufacturer allocation system controls how many vehicles you actually get. Poor sales performance can mean fewer hot-selling trucks shipped your way. Fewer trucks flowing in means thinner revenue and tighter cash flow. Meanwhile, direct-to-consumer online ordering is quietly changing buyer behavior. Customers increasingly configure and order vehicles before ever visiting a lot. This slowly shrinks the negotiation power dealers once relied on heavily. Regional exclusivity, once a dealer's safety net, is weakening too. Manufacturers can open new dealer points in growing markets. That means more competition splitting the exact same customer base. The EV transition adds another thick layer of uncertainty on top. Ford has cut prices and shifted EV strategy multiple times already. Dealers caught mid-investment in EV infrastructure feel that volatility directly. Franchise agreements also contain termination clauses most dealers rarely consider early. Underperformance, compliance failures, or ownership disputes can trigger termination. Losing a franchise can mean losing years of built-up blue-sky value overnight. And there's a simpler kind of economic exposure to worry about. Truck-heavy brands like Ford are sensitive to fuel prices and rate hikes. When interest rates climb, big truck payments become harder to afford. When gas prices spike, demand can briefly shift towards smaller vehicles. A dealership built entirely around truck volume feels that shift hard. Many owners badly underestimate how thin new car margins truly are. They assume volume alone will automatically guarantee steady profit. Without a strong service department, volume alone rarely saves a struggling store. So is owning a Ford dealership actually a good business to build? The honest answer is that it depends heavily on execution. A well-run store in a strong truck market can be genuinely profitable. Service and parts income often stabilizes cash flow through slower seasons. Holdback, F&I, and warranty income meaningfully boost thin new car margins. But this is never a passive investment for absentee owners. It demands serious capital, strict brand compliance, and daily operational discipline. It demands navigating manufacturer politics and unpredictable allocation pressure. It demands managing floor plan debt without ever letting it snowball. It demands adapting fast to an uncertain electric vehicle future. For a skilled operator with deep pockets, it can be a long-term cash generator. For an undercapitalized owner chasing brand prestige, it can become a slow financial drain. Ford's name is what opens the door to this business. But the service bay, the financing desk, and disciplined management keep the lights on. The badge on the building was never the real business model. The real business model was always hiding in the numbers behind it.